My name is Justin Chin, Dean of Workforce Development. I am a first-generation college student, first-generation salary earner in my family. My parents are from China. My mom is from Hong Kong, and my dad a little further upriver in Guangzhou. They're immigrants who came out in the 50s and in the 70s. I identify as a member of the AANHPI community, Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Island community, deeply connected to rural communities. I love CTE because it takes high-level thought and philosophy and puts it into real-world hands-on practice, something that's tangible, something that's going to transform lives. My parents came out here as immigrants with no skills in the US. My father's a third-grade dropout, my mom a sixth-grade dropout. For them, entering into the workforce meant hard work, it meant crazy hours, and it meant time away from family. For me, I'm invested into CTE because I am driven by creating a better life and a better world for people like my parents and like myself. I feel that every day that I'm invested into CTE is a day that I get to push back against that model minority myth. This fellowship has connected me with powerful mentors and leaders in post-secondary education. So direct mentorship from somebody at a four-year university who is deeply invested into CTE, who is deeply invested into racial and social justice, DEI work, but also this fellowship has connected me with 11 other leaders from across the nation. Became engaged in CTE inadvertently. I didn't know that I was a CTE student in high school at all until this fellowship gave me the language to talk about that. I'm passionate about CTE because it allows access to different careers. A little bit about my parents being immigrants. They opened up a Chinese restaurant and they put in 360 days worth of work each year, 16 to 18-hour days, and watching them struggle, watching them really become dehumanized in the work. There came so many points where it was just about work. They didn't enjoy anything about it. It just allowed for money to be made, bills to be paid. My journey into CTE and my journey through my parents and allowing me to choose my own path led me into education and human services. And that's where I really found my niche. One of the things that I'm so happy for is that CTE, as a high school student, allowed me to find my niche to serve community through education, through human services. One thing that I think about a lot is a quote that my mentor shared with me, and it's a Spanish quote: "Donde comen cinco, comen seis." Where you can feed 5, you can feed 6. And so what he keeps pushing at is leave space at your table for a new person, a new connection, a new idea, a new relationship, a new opportunity. And so when I think about donde comen cinco, comen seis, I think about this great need for representation of Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Island leaders in CTE. In my state, I'm the only Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander that's in a leadership role in CTE. It's daunting, it's intimidating, but in so many ways, it's an opportunity for my state to grow and engage diversity, equity, and inclusion. It also allows me to build a network of other AANHPI CTE leaders across the nation. A significant challenge that I've had to navigate over the last 2 years through this fellowship is honestly something that so many professionals of color navigate each and every day, which is imposter syndrome. AANHPI students make up about 4% of post-secondary CTE learners. And when I think about my role here as a post-secondary CTE leader, this is my opportunity to push back against imposter syndrome. This is my opportunity to say, this is our space and we have a right to be in this space of CTE leadership. And it's something that every day I have to remind myself, I'm not a fake, I'm not a fraud, but I have a valuable position that needs to be there to elevate others that follow behind me. I didn't see myself in post-secondary CTE roles. However, through the fellowship and all the different travels that we've been on, seeing other leaders from Texas, California, Nevada, Hawaii, Guam, and all stations east and west has really opened up my eyes to say, I have a place here. There are others who look like me, who have experienced like me, who think like me, and who speak like me. This fellowship has created a safe, caring, and nurturing place for myself to connect with 11 other post-secondary statewide CTE leaders. I think about, in a global sense, moving forward, really centering mentorship, really centering affinity groups, really centering a national network for post-secondary CTE leaders to connect, to see each other physically, to connect with each other over Zoom or email, however it has to be, but it is that connection that is so important. One thing that I think about a lot is this concept of one up, one over, and one below. So when I think about my own professional development, 13 years as a K-12 teacher, 10 years in post-secondary leadership. For 13 years, I saw no other teachers of color in my school district. For the last 10 years, a small tick of leaders of color in higher ed. And so what has really dawned on me is looking at my fellows and my colleagues that are beside me and really thinking about that pipeline of future leaders below me. So when I think about leadership of one up, one over, one below, it's daunting to think that I'm in this role of one up. I am that lead generation of leaders of color. And so there's a responsibility for me to gather information, to take and soak in as much mentorship, find ways to elevate the people beside me, and find ways that collectively, with those leaders and fellows beside me, how we elevate that next generation of leaders. Creating a safe space isn't just having a conference or an opportunity to connect one time a year. Deep connection for professionals of color really depends so much upon that safety, that solace, and that support that can only happen when it is colleagues of color connecting with one another. So we can undo our tie, unbutton the jacket, relax, and just speak frankly. From a systemic approach, we need a targeted, long-term investment to build a talent pipeline. We need managers and leaders to understand their people in an authentic way. We need managers and leaders to see the skills, the talents, the experiences, and also recognize those growth potentials that these candidates have. And so when I think about my own development in this way, this takes me back to a mentor who recognized in me skills that I couldn't even articulate, talents that I had, transferable experiences that fit into a post-secondary CTE leadership role. In 5 years, I want to be in a position where I can serve as a vice president of workforce development in CTE, so I can scaffold systems that ensure family wage careers for historically marginalized communities.